And this music, high drama. It is the Traitors, which has been this huge ratings juggernaut thing for the BBC. It's getting more viewers than Strictly, they've been saying recently. So who's going to lie their way to the cash prize? The aim of the game with Traitors is to conceal that you're a traitor and murder or banish the faithfuls. But are there telltale signs that someone is hiding something from you or blatantly lying? Well, let's find out more and say hello and good morning to James Holmes. Hi, James. Thanks for joining us on the programme this morning.
Good morning, Tom. Thanks so much.
Are you going to murder me?
No, but
not that I know.
Have you spotted a lie yet? No. What a great show it is.
It's a huge thing, isn't it? Now, James, we've got you on because you're a hypnotherapist, you're a body language expert, and you run OLIP Therapy, which is based across various sites in Hampshire. And you're going to talk a bit more about how you can spot if someone is not being entirely honest with you. You're a huge Traitors fan as well, aren't you?
Yes, do you know what? I have to confess, I haven't finished watching the latest series, but okay. I've such a fan. I have watched the Australian and the American versions of Traitors.
So you should be brilliant on the show. Because you know all the tricks.
Well, I think everybody's got it wrong.
Really?
Everybody's got it wrong. And I mean, the fact is, it is such a great show. I think it'd be great if there was a version of the show where you're not told who the traitors are. So
that's the interesting thing, isn't it? That the reveal is, we know how this drama is going to play out. It's not Agatha Christie at the end where you find out, oh, it was someone else.
That there kind of should be two versions. That'd be great if there's two versions.
Yeah.
My favourite thing now is to work out who the producers will choose to be the traitors. So in the first episode, you get to meet everybody briefly. I love working out who they're going to pick. And actually, once you know the formula, you can actually work out who they're going to pick.
So what makes it such a good watch for us? Because we're in on it and we're looking to try and see people fail or succeed. It's all of that drama. Is it that we think we can spot things coming? Because the producers enjoy toying with us, right?
Yes. The fact is, we are not good at spotting liars. And in everyday life, we learn to lie at around age 9. You know, so we're all good liars, and I've got some stats on lying, and hopefully we'll have time to share those.
Yeah.
But we experience lies every day, between 1 and 200 lies every day. So we're not good at lying. And I think in the, I think it was the American-Australian version of the show, there are actually policemen, FBI agents. They don't share that at the beginning, and they are not good at spotting liars.
So we lie a lot?
Well, there are 4 types of liars. There's the occasional liar, which I'm sure you and I
So we think about white lies.
Yes.
And there's without being dishonest, but there are evasions or whatever you want to call it. There's that kind of lying?
Yes. There's the occasional liar, which most of us are. There's the frequent liar. About 5% of people are frequent liars. There's a smooth liar. We all know a smooth liar. That's somebody who lies a lot, and we know they're a liar. They kind of just get away with it. We just know. And there's the compulsive liar. About 5% of people who enjoy it.
So can you spot a liar?
You can.
Would you know? Right, so you've only been in a room with me for about 5 minutes. Yeah. Would you know if I was lying to you?
Probably not.
Because you have to know a bit about a person to know how they reveal the fact that they're lying?
Great question. What context is king? Now, if I was told before I came in that Tom's going to lie to me, then I would have been more hypervigilant to it. But we look for clusters. So clusters of behaviour, certain things that liars do that in isolation you wouldn't notice, but with enough of them, you would begin to notice.
So you know when a member of your family is suddenly uncomfortable or is trying to avoid something, but you think, oh, you're being different. So you kind of have to know that person a bit to see that coming.
They're things like overkill rituals. We've seen that with Linda on Traitors, particularly in the episode I watched at this morning. Crocodile tears. Crocodile tears comes from an old folklore tale that crocodiles cry in order to attract their prey. So when somebody overdoes the lying, I think in this series, if you've watched it, Linda's particularly not very good at that.
Okay.
And so the other traitors are kind of observing that, and
So I'm making notes here. How to be a liar. Don't overdo it.
Don't overdo it. but also, there is a thing called the Pinocchio effect.
Okay.
So this is true. When we lie, we touch our nose more.
Really?
And the reason is our nose and the machines where you can see the body heat. Actually, when we're lying, not just one solitary lie, but a few times, our nose area will begin to get flushed. It will actually get slightly bigger, but actually wouldn't.
So that's where Pinocchio comes from. It's really a thing.
The Pinocchio effect. And what happens is we have to touch our nose. Now, if you look at...
to release the tension?
Yeah. Well, no, it becomes itchy.
Okay.
So if you look at one of the interviews with Bill Clinton, they're quite old now. But the interview when he's lying about Monica Lewinsky, isn't it? He touched his nose something like 48 times. And the interview when he's not lying doesn't touch it at all.
Amazing. We've got so much to talk about. I'm learning all the time. James Holmes is a hypnotherapist. He's a body language expert and he's a director of OLIP Therapy, which is based across various sites in Hampshire. We see Radio Solent. James Holmes is a hypnotherapist and a body language expert, and we are talking Traitors, which reaches its culmination this week, the final episode. James, how do you win at Traitors?
I think everybody's looking in the wrong place.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is we're looking for liars, but the thing is with the show, there's a big prize. People are encouraged to lie. And actually what you need to look for are signs of what's called Duping Delight. So Duping Delight is a micro expression whereby you have kind of happy, gleeful kind of micro movement of your face. Now you'll see a lovely example of Duping Delight, which was first commented about by Paul Ekman. Episode 1, when the traitors are chosen and Linda is touched on her shoulder, and they take the masks off. If you go and watch that scene, you will see Duping Delight. In other words, she's been chosen. She's very happy she's been chosen.
And she can't hide that.
She cannot hide it.
Yeah.
So that's a micro expression of Duping Delight. So actually you need to look for the opposite of what you think. We think we're looking for liars, but actually it's better to look for examples of delight and pleasure of having...
So the Bond villain with the evil grin and the wicked smile.
That's a great way to...
That's where it comes from. So, so acting comes into this as well, because when does an actor become a liar? Because if you give a convincing performance as an actor and you inhabit that person, you say, I did this thing or I didn't do this thing, and you're totally convincing. Is that lying?
The production company, I believe, choose people who are particularly... have a particular personality type. And actually... often in the show we see peacocks, and there's only 100,000 peacocks in the world, and they're actually a rare species. But in many ways, the peacock represents that personality type.
Okay.
So I don't know about you, but when I come down for breakfast, I don't have people cheering, and if I don't come down for breakfast, people aren't crying.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of kind of hysteria there.
Yeah, some extreme emotions going on there.
And where they form relationships incredibly quickly, and when people say like, that was my lifelong friend, and I'm in tears because they're not going to be in it anymore. I don't think you and I would be like that. And also how they are highly suggestible. Now, at the round table, you'll see that people prior to the round table would, I think I'm going to choose this person. I think they're a traitor. And then they get to the round table, and then it's the bandwagon effect. We follow other people. We do what other people do. A bit like I always think during COVID and everybody bought toilet rolls.
Yes.
Suddenly. That's the bandwagon effect. And we see that at the round table where people rapidly change their ideas because we go into cognitive overload. We cannot take in all that information we need to work out who the traitors are. And we think we're looking for the right body language, but actually we're often looking for the wrong things. A real great tell is if somebody is circumlocucious, which is a great word.
Okay, define that for us.
Circumlocucious is when we use too much language to say. So politicians are circumlocucious.
Okay.
If 5 words would do, then they use 200.
Yeah.
Okay. the Shakespearean "the lady doth protest too much." In the episode I saw this morning, Linda was accused at the round table of being a traitor, and again, the lady protests too much.
Okay, so back to my how to lie thing. It's still, don't make too much of a big thing of it.
Yeah, that's overkill rituals. We tend to hide our mouth as well. So in a previous series of Traitors, I think it was Harry, I may be wrong, but covered his mouth a lot. There was lots of tails there. And one of the biggest myths is that people look away.
Right, so that's the thing, isn't it? Okay, we're going to talk more about this, and I want you to teach me how to be a good liar.
Okay,
we're going to talk a bit more in just a second. But we're talking to James Holmes, who's a hypnotherapist and a body language expert and the director of OLIP Therapy. James, we're talking about lying, and presumably we learn to lie. Children learn to lie, and people become good liars.
We all lie. Some of us more than others. We learn to lie when we're about 8 or 9, even younger than 8 or 9. But we experience lies all day long. We're just not aware of it. People aren't doing it maliciously, but most lies are not harmful. For example, 31% of people lie on their CV. 30% of people lie to their doctor about their lifestyle.
Right.
And 20% of people lie to avoid being around others socially. and 30% of lies are done to make a good impression on others.
Right.
So they're not malicious.
Yeah.
But there are some lies that are malicious, but most of the time it's kind of just
So how much of that is self-protection?
An awful lot. It's about ego and self-defense. But we lie to ourselves more. There's a book by Robert Trivers called Deceit and Self-Deception, and he says we deceive ourselves in order to deceive others. So in many ways, we are the biggest liars to ourselves.
What's that line in Seinfeld where he says, it's not a lie if you believe it?
Well, but there are that's so true. Freud said that if his lips are silent, he chatters with his fingertips. Betrayal oozes out of every pore. So because our body language is subconscious, we're not aware of it. For example, if I put my hands, I'm using...
Well, I was just going to say, the fact that you're in the same room as me means that this conversation works completely differently to if we were talking on the phone. Because I can see you and you can see me and we've got eye contact and I can see what you're doing with your hands and how relaxed you are. All of that stuff is going on.
And we lie more on the phone.
Really?
Because it's distancing. Men and women lie about the same amount. Women lie to other women more, but men lie about themselves more to kind of boost up their ego.
Wow.
So there are telltale signs. People who use fewer first-person pronouns. So I and me goes out the window in replaced by third person because we're distancing ourselves.
We're not committing to the lie.
No. The classic is, again, Bill Clinton, I did not have relations with that woman.
Right.
So that, again, distancing behaviour. But there are ways to spot liars. If we offer couples counselling at OLIP Therapy, and then people may need this after what I teach you now. If you think your partner's lying and has spoken about something they've done, ask them to repeat it, but in reverse order. So, for example, my partner and I, our first date, we spoke about the other day. We could both repeat the date in reverse order, where we ended up the date where we started. But a liar can't do that. We can't repeat something in reverse.
Oh.
So, because it wasn't processed in our mind like that.
Because you've had to memorise the lie, you've had to learn it, and it's not instinctive. You must be a really interesting person when you're in a room when you're doing couples therapy. And
I don't do couples therapy. I'd be terrible.
He or she is explaining what you did, and you're looking, you think, well, I know they're lying.
I'll be honest, our therapists are amazing. I would be terrible at couples therapy. But if you want to catch your kids out, and for example, if you suspect your kids are taking drugs, somebody who's genuinely not taking drugs, for example, would say, no. Somebody who possibly is would say, I can't believe you'd accuse me of that.
Right, okay.
Okay, so and we see that on Traitors. Somebody would just say no. And again, it's going back to the idea of being circumlocucious. We're saying too many words to to overcome,
to cover ourselves.
to cover up.
This is all fascinating, and we could talk for hours because this subject I find really thrilling and really interesting because it's all about humanity. It's all about how we behave. James, thank you for joining us on the programme today. Hypnotherapist, body language expert, and OLIP Therapy is where you and your team of therapists hang out across the south. Yeah.
Yep, we're based in Fareham. Best team of therapists around. If you want to go to somewhere where you're going to get the best treatment, come to us.